For more, we can speak with James Sweeney, Professor of International Law at the University of Lancaster in the UK. Professor, these men, they're already serving life sentences, so just tell us why this verdict is so significant.
Well, I think, the word genocide rings loud and clear to everyone that hears it. So there's real importance in recognising that what was done against the Vietnamese and the Cham here constituted genocide. But do let me say from the outset that there is no real hierarchy of international crimes, and perhaps the archetypical genocide, the Holocaust during World War II, was prosecuted at Nuremberg as a crime against humanity. But since then, we've developed this extra term in order to condemn actions when they're directed against a specific national, ethnic, racial or religious group.
And talk to us a little bit about the tribunal itself. Many say it's perhaps outlived its purpose at this stage, with critics saying that it's been slow, it's been expensive, and ultimately it's been rather unsuccessful.
It's certainly been slow and expensive. It's an interesting tribunal. You may be aware of the International Criminal Tribunals for Yugoslavia and Rwanda. They were created by the UN Security Council. This body was set up as an agreement between the UN and the actual government of Cambodia, but is independent of both. It has not just international judges, but Cambodian judges as well. It's what I would call a hybrid tribunal. But even the case that we're talking about today, the first hearings took place in 2011, and two of the co-defendants died during the process. This reminds me a little of the very long trial of Slobodan Milosevic at the ICTY, and of course he died in custody awaiting the end of the case.
And it's also been accused of political interference, hasn't it? I know the Prime Minister himself, he said that he wouldn't allow any new indictments. So what's going to happen now to the tribunal? Is it effectively, has it run its course?
Well, strictly speaking, it is independent. Its name is, the Extraordinary Chambers for Cambodia. So it's meant to be separate from interference either by the Cambodian authorities or the UN. In practice, these tribunals only work with the cooperation of everybody involved. And it is possible that pressure will now be exerted to wrap the whole thing up. But I would imagine that will be done, or at least presented as being done, on financial grounds rather than political grounds.
But this verdict, it does of course have symbolic significance for the survivors. Will it provide perhaps a sense of closure to them? What does it mean for those who survived this regime?
I think for people all over the world who have been persecuted, being able to show that you are a victim of genocide has become an important issue that pushes towards, as you say, closure. We can see this in respect of Armenia. You can see this in respect of the ethnic Albanians in Kosovo. You can see it where it has not been recognised, I should say, yet in law. And also at the Srebrenica massacre in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So it is important to recognise when it takes place, as it did also famously or infamously in Rwanda. But as I say, crimes against humanity are just as important, and for the person sitting in jail, whether they are incarcerated for crimes against humanity or genocide is beside the point.
James Sweeney, Professor of International Law at the University of Lancaster, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.